Good morning again, folks. My name is Jim Hernandez again, and I'm representing my client in this case. The evidence in this case will show that there's a reasonable doubt that whenever closing argument comes and whenever you have reviewed all the evidence in this case, you will be able to review the evidence technician photos. You will be able to review the shell casings. You will be able to review the MAC 90. All this will come into play. All this tells a story. On January 29th, 2016, Tamisha Brown was taking her grandmother home from work. It was a cold day. She pulled up into the driveway. She pulled up as close to the home as possible to let her grandmother off to walk into the home. That's going to be important because you're going to see the driveway in the evidence technician's photos. You're going to see the location of the shell casings. You're going to be able to judge the distance. You're going to hear the answers from the evidence technicians on whether they measured the area of where the car was to where the shell casings were. You're going to be able to know the time of the day that it was in January 29th, 2016. You're going to be able to know the direction that her car was facing and the rear of her car from the aerial photographs. You're going to be able to use common sense when it comes to the setting of the sun due to the light conditions. You're going to be able to judge Tamisha Brown's attention and what it was focused on. The state is going to introduce evidence that Tamisha Brown made an identification of my client, but you're going to be able to judge the amount of time she had and the conditions that were happening. Tamisha Brown was in the driver's seat of that, also a white Toyota Corolla, her car. Her attention was first gained when she heard the pops or the gunshots. She'll state to you that she looked in her rearview mirror for about 2 to 3 seconds. And then she turned to the child to retrieve her cell phone. And then she drove forward. In the 2 to 3 seconds, her rearview window was blown out. The car was receiving approximately 10 rounds of impact. All these things were happening, and they were happening quickly. She went to the hospital, and you will see her car. You will hear the 911, and it is heart-wrenching. It is sad, and it is heart-wrenching. And human instinct will be that someone must be held accountable. And you have these 2 young men before you at trial. But I'm sure that you will fight that and analytically do an analysis of the evidence. That's your duty. That's your duty to hold the state to its burden of whether they can prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, the mother was at the hospital with her family. It's highly emotional, grieving. And then she came home, not to her grandmother's house, but to her house in her apartments, and she talked to the detectives. And she stated that she saw a person that was outside the window of the suspect's car in the back passenger seat. And she described him as a young African-American male with a light complexion. That was the extent of her description to those detectives in the early morning hours of January 30th. It was lead detective D.K. Scott. Social media. Social media, unfortunately, controls a lot of our day-to-day activities, sometimes too much. Tamisha Brown's family was sent a photograph from Facebook by a friend of the family. It was sent to Thomas Brown, the brother of Tamisha Brown. And he showed his sister, Tamisha Brown, the photograph. And Tamisha Brown identified my client as one of the shooters from that photograph. Later in that afternoon, you have to analyze the physical evidence. You have to analyze her observation during the rounds hitting the car. You have to analyze the distance. You have to analyze the lighting conditions. You have to analyze the time of the day. You have to analyze the impact of the rounds. And whatever you do, do not blame the mother for anything, because the mother is also trying to hold someone accountable. Anything to make common sense of this. But you have to look at it and look at all the evidence. The Brown family emailed that photograph to the police. Now you're going to hear a whole bunch of other evidence about other videos. You're going to see rap videos of problem child entertainment. You're going to see my client in those rap videos. And you're also going to see probably between 20 to 30 other African-American young men in those rap videos. All young men. And you're going to see probably between 3 to 4, 5 African-American males that are light complected in those rap videos. You'll be able to analyze who belongs to Problem Child Entertainment, who belongs to 187 through those rap videos. Look at the physical evidence. Look at all the factors. Look at the conditions that happened on January 29th, 2016. Look at the stress that the mother of the child, Tamisha Brown, was under. Look who belongs to PCE. Look at the description that she gave, the general description she gave to the detectives, not noting the twist or the weird hairstyle that my client had at that time when she initially talked to the detectives. And we'll review the physical evidence again, going to be through the review, through direct and cross-examination, and again through closing argument. And then you're going to get to weigh out all the factors when you go back to deliberate. And at the end, I'm confident that you will find my client, Henry Hayes, not guilty of these offenses, because there does exist a reasonable doubt as to the identification of the shooter.
All right, thank you.